My name's Jake Pollock. I'm a cinematographer. I've shot over 20 movies, from small independent films to big blockbusters. With camera lenses or camera movement and lighting, I try to make very unique decisions about each movie. It's just how I interpret the story, how I interpret the director's vision. One of the things that Peter and I talked about with Wuxia was the environment. We wanted the landscape to be a very big part of the movie. It was important to represent the lush green of southwest China, of Yunnan province, where we were shooting. We wanted to create a color of green that we thought was enhancing the environment, but was also something that was aesthetically pleasing for us. We decided a certain scene should be moody, it should have a gloomy look to it. It's always going to be more blue. But what is our wuxia blue? So there was a lot of time that we spent in post, after we finished shooting the film, really deciding what that blue should be. And some of that blue is in response to the emotions. But at the same time, their skin tone is still very natural. And that's something that we put a lot of effort into achieving that.
We're cooped up in the darkroom most of the time, like mad scientists or something. So whenever I had the chance, I try to get out and meet people, especially if they're filmmakers. From the start, our goal with cinematic color has been to faithfully reproduce colors as the director intended them to be seen. Having the opportunity to meet with a cinematographer, I can find out how he thinks about film color and see if we can improve the areas he thinks are most important. In your 2 decades of work experience, which color have you found most important and unable to be sacrificed?
The color that I'm most critical of is the color of skin tone. I'm always looking for what's going to make the actors' skin tones look natural, look believable, have depth to it.
One time when I took my son out to eat, there was an NBA game on TV. He asked me, "Daddy, why are all those people's faces all red?" The TV's color settings were way off. Even kids can easily tell if a commonly seen color is wrong.
You with your son at the restaurant and seeing the NBA players, he doesn't know what the technology is. He just knows that there's something wrong. And when I'm doing color correcting, I'm also looking at the whites. I want a clean white. I want these very basic things to look natural. And I think that for an audience, if you give them a believable skin tone, some believable reference points, you can actually do a lot with the color that will impact the story without being distracting.
Have you ever seen your films in a theater where the projection didn't live up to your standards?
More times than I care to remember. As filmmakers, we've put a lot of effort into every single frame of that movie. And so for any moment of that to be wrong is disastrous. All I can do is shoot the movie and make sure that the color is as good as it can be. Then it goes out in the world, and there's nothing I can do after that.
To avoid disappointing you or forcing you to compromise, what do you think our projectors should do?
I'm not looking for a projector to give me something better than I've done. I'm looking for the projector to give me exactly what I've done. That doesn't sound like much, but that's a really hard thing to do.
The most important thing we can do is enable your work to be faithfully reproduced with nothing added and nothing removed. I think that whether a film's color is saturated or not should be up to the creators. It shouldn't be decided by the projector or the display. It's the filmmaker's decision what emotions they want to transmit.
I agree 100%. And one of the things that I really notice about this projector that I think is probably unique is the contrast, the fall off from the shadows and into the midtones and then into the highlights. It's very, very subtle, and it's got a lot of gradation to it. And I think that's something that you've done that's good, that should be enhancing, making those gradations more and more subtle. And I think that the same thing is true of the color, and I think that's something that BenQ has put into this projector is unique. and it is something that is signature to this projector, is how that gets translated.
HDR is defined differently than SDR. Since the brightness of a projector changes along with the size of the projected image, we have to go a step further and make additional adjustments. We chose 5 different commonly used sizes and individually optimized brightness for each one. No matter which size you use, you can have the best HDR experience. This was actually pretty tough to do. With HDR, the adjustments necessary are much harder than if it were SDR. And we did it 5 times over, spending at least 5 times as much effort in the process.
That's not easy. You know, if the image is at a certain brightness, at this distance, if you back it up, the image relatively becomes darker, and that'll affect the overall contrast. So it's very important to have the proper brightness at the proper distance. So I think it would be great if you could have an automatic sensor on the projector, and that it could know the distance and adjust the brightness as it should be. That'll be the next level.
That's a great idea. Today's discussion has made me even more determined to keep pursuing color accuracy. Earning your approval is truly a huge affirmation, and I feel I can persist on this path with no regrets.
As the cinematographer of Wuxia, I know exactly what the movie looks like, and today I was surprised. I was literally impressed. I forgot how good the movie looked. And if I can be impressed by the movie, I think the audience will be that much more impressed because they're experiencing it for the first time. I gotta say, I want to take this projector home, and I want to watch all the movies that I love. There'll be things that I never noticed before. There'll be things that I appreciated before that'll be that much more surprising or engaging because the colors are the best that they can be. The contrast is as smooth and natural and as rich as it can be. And that's incredible.